Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. This is a very dreary morning. It has been raining nonstop, I feel like, for 3 days. It is great. I would love for the sun to come out and show its face, which is weird because I thought I would never say that, but I'm starting to actually get sick of seeing the clouds all the time. And that makes it really hard to film in this temporary house because there are no lights. And I have misplaced where my ring light thing is, so I can't even use my ring light, which is pretty obvious, I feel like, for the past couple of videos. So I'm stuck sitting in this chair because the door is right there. And it's like a full glass door so I can get some light in here. But anyway, that aside, we're actually starting a new video series. I believe that I've done one before, but I'm just gonna like call this a new series even if I have, because I can't remember. And I'm too lazy to look back at what I've done for the past 2 years because there's a lot of videos. So we are gonna be starting a series that is reading overhyped books versus underhyped books. And I really like doing this because sometimes I feel like overhyped books, I don't get them. And then underhyped books, I found some like real gems sometimes. Underhyped can mean like it has a good review on Goodreads, but no one is talking about it and it only has like a couple of reviews. Or it can be like tanked on Goodreads and that's, I mean, and no one's talking about it as well, or everyone's talking about it and they hate it. So that's kind of what it is. And then overhyped can be people talking about it a lot and seeming like they really like it, that this is like a prolific book and it still has an okay rating on Goodreads, or it's like super high on Goodreads, but I also have to kind of hear people talking about it. So for the underhyped book, because nobody is gonna have heard about it, The Resemblance by Lauren Nassette. So the reason that I ended up picking this up is because I saw her newer book, The Professor, on the shelves and I was like, ooh, that looks really good. And then it said #2 in this detective series and I was like, detective books. I love detective books. So I ended up finding this in the Books A Million. I took off the sticker, but in the Books A Million discount section for like $4.99. And I was so excited. And this sounds so cool. This is actually following our main character who is a detective, Detective Marlet Kaplan. And she works around the University of Georgia area. And she is at her mother's office when there is an accident. And it turns out that witnesses notice that a person was hit. It was a hit and run, and the person that hit them looked exactly like them and was smiling. So, and it's got to do with like the fraternities and sororities on campus, and it just seems like an academia detective story, which is like right up my alley. But I've never heard anyone talk about this like anywhere. It has like 3,000 ratings on Goodreads. It's got like a 3.2. It's got like a 3.2, which is not a lot. Is not a lot. So I am quite nervous about this one, but it sounds like right up my alley. It sounds perfect. And then I wanted something, because that's actually the book that I had first. I wanted something in the similar genre. I feel like the only fair way to do this is doing similar genre, like young adult fantasy versus young adult fantasy, mystery versus mystery. So we have I would call that one a detective story, so mystery story. So I ended up picking up Confessions. Now this was so hyped up. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but this is like, I could not go, like there was 1 month where I could not watch a video without this being brought up and read by somebody. And like there was, I think Books with Lala picked it for one of her book clubs. It's with Gavin Reads It All and Katie Colson. And then Gabby Reads also read this separately. And so like, this is all I heard about. This is all I heard about. And it was so overhyped. And so of course I didn't pick it up right away because me and overhyped books, I tend not to read them when they come out. Like I still haven't read all the Crescent City books. I'm on #2 and I'm dragging my feet on that. I just get stressed. Unless I'm like already in a series, then I'll pick it up when it comes out. But I just get stressed with overhyped books because my expectations are too high. So we're gonna try this one. And all I know about this one is, I know less about this one. This one was literally just picked up because I knew it was overhyped. But I think this is definitely a translated book. I know that, and I think it was made into a movie. And what made me want to read it is that Lord of the Flies for the Modern World. And I loved Lord of the Flies. That was one of my favorite books that I read like in school that we had to read. This is after calling off her engagement in the wake of a tragic revelation. Moriguchi had nothing to live for except her only child. Oh yeah, and the child ends up dying. She's telling like this story to a group of her students, and it seems like 2 of her students actually may have committed murder and killed the kid. And this is all about revenge, I think is what it says. So I don't have many expectations for this. Well, actually my expectations are really, really high, but it's not my type of story that I normally would pick up, so I'm a little nervous about that. Not because it's translated, but because it's like a story with a lot of kids in it, and I tend not to read stories with a lot of kids in it. I'm just not really interested in it. So I'm interested how that's gonna go. I'm interested how it's gonna go. It is rather short. Both of these books are pretty short, so I should finish them pretty fast. I can't speak today, if you've noticed. I'm gonna have to cut out so much from this video. Anyway, so this is Overhyped. This is Underhyped. I'm very curious how it's gonna go. My guess is actually that I'm gonna like The Resemblance more, just because it's what I tend to like better. So I think I'm gonna like The Resemblance better because I like detective stories, and people are very picky about detective stories sometimes. So they could not like it because of the type of detective story it is. But that's kind of my guess, is I'm gonna like this one, and I'll still like this one probably, but I think this one I'm gonna rate higher. So that's kind of my guess right now, and I'm very nervous. This is going to be completely spoiler free, so don't worry about spoilers or anything like that. I'm just going to talk about general thoughts and feelings about the books and my rating, etc. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe and like the video at the end if you enjoyed it, and comment down below what you thought about the books. And let's get right into the actual reading of the books. Very early, and I did not sleep like at all last night. It was terrible. I'm so annoyed. If I don't get 8 hours of like uninterrupted good sleep, then I am a menace to deal with the next day. And so today is just not going to be a fun day for anybody involved. And we're waiting to hear news back for our house because there's some like ridiculous stuff going on with the buyer, and my husband and I are so fed up. Our realtor is fed up. The realtor of the buyer is fed up. The bank is fed up. Everybody is fed up, and we're so annoyed. I don't know if I ever told like the full story of our house. I might have told like some of it, but we were trying to sell our house because we were moving for my husband's work, so we're doing it through relocation, and we got a really good offer for the house, and so it sold for above asking. And then something happened with the buyer, and they pulled out after 3 days, and we were like, what the hell? And it had to go back up on the market. But because if a house goes off market and then goes back on market, people are suspicious of it. And so we started getting lowball offers for our house, and we're like, this sucks. Like, we were losing like 10 grand from the offers on our house. We were very upset about it. But then the original buyer came back and re-put in a lower offer. And it turned out like her lender had issues or something like that. It was very strange. It's a strange situation. So we ended up going with her offer because it was still higher than other offers. And we're like, fine, just take her offer, whatever. So it's been a pain. The whole process has been so obnoxious. And closing is tomorrow. Closing is supposed to be tomorrow morning on our house. And yesterday we were contacted by our realtor, and she was like, I have some bad news. And we were like, are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding me? Because our whole house is moved. Everything is moved out. We're in a temporary house that we only have so many days with, and we're under contract with our dream home. Okay, so what's the problem now? What's the problem now? Turns out something like hit her credit or something like yesterday. And so our realtor can't figure out what the hell it is. The lender can't tell her, but they need a bunch of paperwork from the buyer. And apparently the buyer's freaking out because the buyer is obsessed with our house, and it like has told apparently her realtor she can't live without it. So I don't know if she was hiding something, because they went through the whole vetting process with her. Like, her lender was like, she was clear up until yesterday. Like, when we went through some things, she got dinged. Like, we found the thing. And I'm like, I don't know if I 100% buy it. I'm curious if they missed something from the beginning, or that the buyer was hiding something. But a lot of people are thinking it's the only thing they can think of that's popping up this late and didn't show up immediately is either like a child support lien, which is like, oh my gosh, and could be an exorbitant amount of money, or like $20. We don't know, because that's the other thing. We don't know how much she owes and what this is going to cause. And or it could be, someone was saying like witness protection kind of stuff that's going on, but it seems less like that now that the further the process is going on. But the buyer gave all the paperwork in by 11 p.m. last night, and we're supposed to have an answer about what's going on by 10 a.m. this morning, which is about an hour from now. And basically it's the bank is like it seems like it's a smaller bank, and she's on this like in-house specialty loan. Basically, the president of the bank and the VP of the bank are having to come together to go over this paperwork and do like a risk assessment on it, and basically say, do they need to put in more money? Like, does she need more skin in the game? Does she need to put up more for her down payment to get this loan? And if she does, we have to be the ones covering it because she has no more money. So the other realtor was like, I'm gonna forfeit, because they're guessing it's about $5,000 more that she needs. And so her realtor is giving up $3,000 of his commission to put towards her down payment, and our realtor can't because it's the relocation. She literally can't do it, or she would. We have to put another $2,000 towards closing costs to pay for her down payment, which comes away from our down payment. So I'm gonna say this right now. If you are looking to buy a house, don't pull this shit, because like, unless she literally had no idea, but I can't see something this big of a deal coming out of nowhere. Like, either you did not pay something, or you did something in the middle of the process of buying the house, which is stupid, or I don't know what she possibly could have done. So my husband are really, like, we're really pissed off that we're gonna have to pay, like, give more money to this person, because she already ruined our first, like, selling of the house. Like, she already caused future people to not want to buy our house. And then when she put in with the second offer, we are giving her $5,000 in closing costs already, and to help her with her, like, loan thing to buy down her interest, I think. And then we spent $900 on the house doing a couple of repairs, like the stupid effing toilet. And now we're thinking we're gonna have to put in even more money. Because if we don't, we're kind of like between a rock and a hard place, because it is the 2nd. Our house is supposed to close the 3rd. And then our new house, which we need the money from our current house to buy, closes on the 16th. And we actually have in our clause with our new house, we have to close within 10 days of that closing date. So we have until basically the 26th, and then they will put their house back up on the market. And I'm like, so I feel like we've been pigeonholed into giving this lady so much money that could be going towards our house because she couldn't get her shit together. And I'm so frustrated. But anyway, what you guys actually are here to talk about, I am on page 62 of Confessions. I'm actually listening to it on audiobook because I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. I don't want to read it. The chapters are so long. I don't think it's a translation issue. I just don't like the subject material. I don't like how long the chapters are. I don't like anything about this book. I don't like how it's written. I don't like the subject material. I don't like anything. If I wasn't doing this for a video and it wasn't so short, I probably would just be like, I'm done. And I literally just bought this book. That's just making me more mad as I spent money on this, thinking it was gonna be really good because everybody was like, oh, this is crazy, it's so good. I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna finish it just to like know if this really is, the ending is worth it or something. But as of right now, it's stupid. I just don't like it at all. So that's frustrating. I don't really have anything other to say about it because I really just don't like anything about it. There's not a single positive feedback that I have for this book as of currently. Quick update. I am halfway through the book, over halfway through. I still don't love it. I'm also having to remember when this was written and where it was written, because this was written in 2008. Translated in 2014, and this is a Japanese book. The way that AIDS and HIV is spoken about is so terrible. It's so bad. And it doesn't age super well, like in the United States at least. I don't know culturally HIV/AIDS in Japan, so I can't say anything on that. So basically, like, there's a HIV/AIDS weaponization kind of thing against people, and just the fear mongering around it, and it's just awful. I mean, it is one thing to say, like, yeah, people are scared to get AIDS, HIV, because it is scary. It is a lifelong illness. But the treatment for it now is fantastic, but that doesn't mean it's not scary and really can affect some immunocompromised people. But the way that it's like weaponized and talked about so poorly in here, it gives me hives a little bit, because one of my jobs that I've had in the past was working as a disease investigation specialist, and my master's is in public health, specifically relating to STDs, infectious diseases, and stuff like that. So a lot of what I did was work with people who had HIV or AIDS and trying to get them treatment, and basically trying to make sure they knew that their life wasn't over. And so this just talks about it in a light that anyone with HIV or AIDS, I feel like this would freak them out and just give like the wrong idea to other people who don't know that much about it anymore, because the landscape of HIV and AIDS is significantly different than it was even 3 years ago. So again, I'm giving it grace because this was written back in 2008, and this is written by a Japanese author in a different country. So I'm so uncomfortable. I'm so uncomfortable reading about it, but that's probably not even my biggest gripe, because again, giving it grace. I just still don't like the story, and the chapter we just read was just so boring. It's rehashing stuff that happened in previous chapters. So it's basically, you get like how the story happened, and then the next chapter is told by a different person how the story happened this way, and now the third chapter was by a totally different person, and this is how it happened in their perspective. So I'm assuming that's what every single chapter is until we actually learn the truth. Maybe we won't even learn what the actual truth is, and it's just a conglomeration of different things. So I don't even know what to believe at this point. And it's making me annoyed. Like, I'm annoyed by it. I'm not thinking, oh, this is so cool. I'm annoyed because I have to hear the same story over and over and over again with just random little things changed. And I feel like in theory that's interesting. In practice, it's just not working well. I am glad that this isn't 1,000 pages long, because it definitely could be, but I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed. Okay, I have a house update. But I also feel like I should talk about the book first, which I did finish. I hated it. I legitimately loathed this book. I think it's so bad, and I'm like trying to think if it's a translation issue, but I don't think it is at all. I think it's translated really, really well. It's not really the writing style that bugs me. That a little bit of the writing style bugs me. The way that it's told. So I don't like the complete telling style. So I don't think that's part of it, because there definitely is, like, some books can be translated poorly, etc. I don't think that's the case. I think I legitimately just don't like anything about this book. I gave this a solid 1 star. This is going to probably be on my worst books of 2024. I am not kidding you. I absolutely hated this book. I was so bored throughout 90% of the book. I even went and watched some reviews. So after I finished reading this, I found the movie on YouTube, and I actually started it, and I didn't even like it, like movie form. Didn't even like really watch it. I skipped through parts of it just to see. Didn't even like that way of consuming the story. So that's why I'm like, it's probably not a translation. I think I just really, really didn't like the story. And then I went and looked up video reviews of Books with Lala. Had this as one of her book club picks. So it was Books with Lala, Gavin Reads It All, and Katie Colson were all in a video together, and all of them loved it. It was like mix of 5 and 4.5 stars. So I'm like, okay. So then I found Gabby Reads also did a review of it, and I looked up her review of it, and she loved it. And I'm just like, I missed a memo with this book. I completely missed a memo with this book because I loathed every part of it. I feel like I love the idea of the story, that you are telling the same story from a different perspective each chapter. I love the idea of that. I don't think it's executed rather well. I think it's very poorly executed, actually. I don't think there's really any twists. That's what I'm confused about. Like, people are saying there was twists left and right, and I'm sitting here going, what twists are you talking about? There are no actual twists. You know basically everything that happens at the beginning. There's like a person gets killed at one point in the middle of the book, and that's like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. But it's not like a twist. There's no really like change in motivations for anything. There's no change of actual killers. There's nothing like that that happens in this book. It's just learning actual motivations and what actually happened over the book. But it's like basically what you're told at the beginning is what happened. So I don't understand why people were just so like flabbergasted by this book. I really don't get it. And it's depressing. This is such a depressing book. And the ending just like went all over the place. On to the house update before we move on to the next book, which I don't remember where I put my physical copy of. The house update is that they were declined for the loan. I don't know where I was with this story, but the lady who is supposed to buy her house, closing was supposed to be today, was declined for that loan after they found out the issue that she had. And it's wild because we found out the issue she had was like an IRS problem that apparently the bank completely missed. So we're trying to salvage this deal. We do have a backup, so we should still be able to buy our house, which is supposed to close on the 16th. Because we are doing it through relocation, we can actually get funds through my husband's workplace. And basically when our house sells, we just pay them back with the sale of the house. That'll at least work, hopefully, but I'm not gonna be not nervous until I have the funds like in our bank accounts to be able to buy our dream house. So we are both a little bit on edge. We're both very angry at this bank, really. Like, I'm annoyed with the woman, but a realtor has a very good friend who does loans, who's like a loan officer, and it's with a bigger bank. And so she was like, I need this closed. This is what's going on. This is why this bank fell through, etc. And so he took all the documents and he's looking over them, and he thinks he could potentially sell it. But he literally said that this bank royally screwed up, that they missed the IRS stuff. It is clearly in her documents. Like, she didn't disclose it where she was supposed to. However, the underwriting process catches all of this stuff. So you look at bank statements. It is clear apparently from like the last 4 bank statements, because they take a couple bank statements, from every single bank statement they have from her, it is clear that there is a monthly payment to the IRS on there. So the bank should have caught it. And apparently the loan that they were going to give her, that payment disqualifies her from the loan. So she shouldn't have even been approved for the loan in the first place from this other bank. So I'm less mad at her. I still think she should have disclosed it somewhere that she was supposed to, but the bank should have caught it like early in the process, like before they even gave her a loan. They should have looked through that. So the problem is it seems like she's paying a lot of different things. So she's got like the IRS. I'm assuming she has probably a car payment. Now she wants to add a house payment. And it's not like a cheap house. It's not an inexpensive, I was gonna say not cheap, but it's not an inexpensive property. It is a decently priced property. So that's just a lot for someone to pay on. And I don't know her salary, but the guy came back and was like, it's close. It's close of whether we want to approve her or not. And we're just like, oh. So we're giving more in closing than we want to, just a little bit more. It's another $2,000, which takes away from our down payment, which really sucks. But if that means I can close the house in another 8 days and just be done with it, because otherwise we have to go back to market. We have to go back to market and go through this whole process again of appraisals and people coming and inspecting the house and finding more stuff potentially wrong with the house that we have to go and spend more money to fix, because we fixed like $1,000 worth of things just because the toilet replacement was so expensive. So I don't want to go through that all again to fix more stuff potentially that they find, which there's not really anything else I don't think that they can find. Like the toilet really was the big thing. Like we've kept really good like updates with our house. It was just I didn't feel like replacing a toilet. And I didn't think the toilet was actually leaking, so that's why I was fine with replacing it, because it actually was legitimately broken. But I just don't want to go through selling our house again. I don't want to do it because potentially we're gonna have to go back to Charlotte to do stuff. I really want to stay where I'm at. I don't want to make this like 5-hour drive back to North Carolina. So we're very, very frustrated. So we're hoping that this new loan guy can be like, yeah, we're good. We're good to close. I can do it this date. This is what's happening. And then we can get our money for our house and we don't have to worry about it anymore. So anyway, yeah, finished Confessions, hated that while in the middle of doing all this. And then I'm gonna start the Underhyped book. So I'm gonna be reading The Resemblance. This actually should have been in my book haul. So if you watch my book haul, add one more book to it. This one seems really, really interesting. I actually like the premise of this one more than the other one, but I heard so much more about the other one. This one's got like a 3.2 or something on Goodreads, so it is quite low, and I've not heard a single person talk about it. Already reading the first chapter, it is a bit dry with long chapters, nothing compared to Confession with how long the chapters are, but it is a dry writing style, so it's definitely going to probably be more feeling like police procedural. I am planning on starting this, but I'm not starting it until the 5th of May. I don't have an audiobook copy until the 5th of May. It's coming to my Everand or Scribd on the 5th of May. So I wanted to make them as like equal as possible. So I definitely wanted to have the audiobook for this one because the audiobook can change how I feel about books sometimes. Not a lot. Like if I don't like a book, I don't like a book. If I like a book, I like a book. But it can change them. So I do want to have the audiobook on hand so I can switch back and forth like I did with Confessions. So that's kind of the plan. I'm actually really excited about reading this one. I already kind of liked the intro better than I liked the other books. So I'm curious why people don't like this one or aren't interested in it whatsoever. So yeah, this is what we're going to be reading next. Hopefully I like it significantly better than Confessions, or this is going to be a hella depressing reading vlog. So anyway, we are officially at the end of this vlog because I DNF'd The Resemblance. I did not think that this would be even worse than Confessions. And I get, like, I went through all the comments and I get every single one of them. Every single one of them about why people didn't like this book is so completely valid. This is an awful... It would have been a 1-star. If I finished it, it would have been a 1-star. My dog just finished eating food and now he's rubbing against this chair. And ow, why? He just headbutted me because I'm in his way. Anyway, like I was saying, The Resemblance. It's bad, man. It's bad. I can see the audience, I think, for Confessions, but I don't know of an audience who would really like this, like, at all. It has the most unlikable and unprofessional character I've ever read in a book. The main character, what's her name? Marlet? Yeah, so Marlet works as a detective, but she does not act like one whatsoever. Or I guess, like, maybe she does act like one, but she's a bad cop. Like, she is straight up a bad cop. She is so judgmental during interviews, and she doesn't do anything that would make a suspect want to talk to her. Like, she does everything the opposite, and it's not even like a bad cop, good cop kind of thing. She's like actively derails things because she cannot get her shit together. So basically this book, the hook is that like I said, the fraternity kid is run over and the person who ran him over looked exactly like him and was smiling. So that is like the hook of this book. It's brought up for the first 2 chapters and then not brought up again until like the end of the book of what I can see. Because I read about 60% of this and nothing was happening. It was literally just our main character hating everybody, including her family who was trying to help her. Like, she goes through a traumatic event and her family and her friends are being so nice to her and are trying to help her. And at every turn, she is just so ungrateful. Like, she's like, I hate my autonomy taken away from me. And it's like, you literally were in a major accident and your family is just trying to help you. Like, you have nowhere to live right now. And your family's like, I already made your room up and stuff like that. And she's mad. Why are you mad? Like, what is wrong with you? And it's everything. Everything is like that. She hates everyone, and then on top of that, she's also like in love with her partner. it seems like, but is also friends with the girlfriend and is like actively kind of an ass about it. And she hates her whole family for really not any good reason. And she just hates everything. She hates everything. And like she hates fraternities, and she has a good reason to hate fraternities, but her generalization and her way that she talks about them and the way she talks about people in sororities, I'm not a fan of fraternities and sororities. I feel like that's not a secret. I'm not a fan of them. My husband was in one. My husband was in a fraternity, and they were all pretty good guys. Like, it was a nerdy fraternity, but it was a band fraternity. But they still partied and did all that stuff. But there are good fraternity guys, and there are very bad fraternity guys. The generalizations that she was making, and the fact that the way she talked about women in this book. This is a person who thinks she's feminist, but actually hates women. It's like you know who I'm talking about. The women who are like, if you wear makeup, you hate women, you hate yourself, blah, blah. That's the type of feminist that she is. It's not bringing women up no matter what they like. It's if a woman likes a certain thing, there's no way she can actually like it. So like they have a girl who is basically the fraternity picks a girl who's like the hot girl. She's the hot girl. She represents the fraternity. She brings in other sorority girls and helps with parties and brings them lunch and stuff like that. It's a role I would never take. But there are women out there who love that, who want that. And as long as it is consensual, as long as she is okay with everything that she does, she can enjoy making men sandwiches if she wants to, okay? That is her prerogative. And this author, you can tell she hates that. You can tell, like, I felt like the author is indistinguishable from the main character. And I don't know if that's accurate, but the way, like, I don't know anything about this author. Former professor turned novelist with a PhD in German literature, lives in Atlanta, Georgia, and this takes place at University of Georgia. So I'm assuming, this is assumptions. This is just my personal opinion, just assumptions. I'm assuming the way that the main character feels is actually how this author feels, because it was so biased against fraternities and sororities, and any girl who would even remotely be interested in fraternizing with a fraternity boy, and basically sorority girls are dumb, and that's just, I can't stand for that. I can't, it was making me so mad. That's really what kind of like did it for me, was the way she was talking about women. Cause like, fine, you hate fraternity boys. That's fine. The character has a good reason for it. But when you start judging women for how they act, if they actually enjoy themselves, and like hiding it as feminism, that kills me. That kills me. And by 60-70%, it like wasn't even focused on the murders anymore. It was just her complaining. That's really what the first 60% of this was kind of talking about the case, doing interviews, but literally just the detective judging everybody. Like the shit that she would say had me grinding my teeth. And so I DNF'd it at like 60%, and I went and read the ending, and it's one of those situations where you don't meet the perpetrator until like the last 50 pages. So how are you supposed to like guess anything that happens in this? And like the resemblance thing isn't even a good twist. Like it's not even a good twist. Your hook was terrible. So it was just bad. This one was really, 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 really bad. And this one was also really bad. So I'm sitting here like, now what? This was not the outcome I was expecting. I was expecting to love this and be okay with this. I wasn't expecting to hate this and also hate this. This was a very disappointing book. Oh man, okay, that's it. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. More than I enjoyed the reading experience. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you comment down below if you've read either one of these or you plan to read either one of them. I would not recommend this one. Don't read this one. People who want, I don't know who I would recommend this to. I really don't, because I really hated it. It's really hard to recommend something you hate to like an audience. It's really, really hard. I don't know who would like this. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Pick it up if you're thinking about it. Don't if you're not. That's all. That's the recommendation. If you want to try it, go ahead and try it. If you don't, wouldn't bother with it. Like I said, comment down below what you guys thought about the books in the vlog and what I should read next. Overhyped, underhyped books. I'm up for recommendations, and I will see you guys in the next video.